Hi YouTube, it's been a while. Dusting off the old accounts to bring you a look at a brand new game called Griftlands. Although in coming back here, I see a lot of people are still looking for more through the ages, so I will try to do another one of those soon. It's kind of heartwarming that people are still kind of finding this video. I don't know if it's because I posted on Board Game Geek years ago or how so, but there it is. Today it's Griftlands though. This is a game by Clay Entertainment, maker of the Imperialist Invisible Ink. So it just came out in early access 4 days ago. I snapped it up right away as a fan of Clay, and I'm already quite a big fan of this game. It's very engaging. It's a card-based roguelike like Slay the Spire or Dream Quest, but with some key differences that we'll get into as we go through it. So this video is partly just kind of sell you on Griftlands. Even as an early access game, I already think it's worth playing. It's only, I think, $15 on the Epic Store. Yeah, the Epic Store doesn't have a lot of the features we would like, but this is how you build a storefront, and I'm sure that Clay is getting more money, which is enough reason for me to buy it on the Epic Store. However, I do think that the balance is pretty iffy right now, and to be fair, like, this is an early access game in its first iteration. Of course the balance is bad. I'm not saying this as a criticism of Clay. What I am saying is that there's two reasons I want to make this video, not just to sell you on Griftlands, but to kind of sell Clay on my feedback of what cards need to be buffed. Because there's a lot of just bad options out there right now, and I think that you win very consistently by just ignoring the bad stuff. So with that bit of preamble, we're going to get right into it. In Griftlands, there are prestige levels. These are roughly like ascensions in Slay the Spire. Each one you can add to make it more difficult. We're going to go all in on Prestige 6, because I'm trying to show you guys what the high-level gameplay looks like. I haven't seen any. When I search Griftlands Prestige 6 on YouTube, I don't find anything, so maybe this is the first one, I don't know. You unlock, like I say, this by Dream Quest, you unlock some cards by playing. There's like an experience system, which I'm not a fan of progression like that in roguelikes, but it's kind of exactly the same as Invisible Ink, where it's a bit more of a side grade than upgrades, and if you just are reasonably good at the game, you'll unlock them all pretty quickly. So they're mostly there for players who are struggling, just to make it so that the next run feels different, even if you're in a rut. So right now there's only one act to play, which is the character and the decks. And you'll notice there's a negotiation deck. So the one thing to know about Griftlands is it's kind of got two decks, right? So there's a negotiation phase, and there's a combat phase. And crucially, they are not symmetric. This is an important point actually, where if negotiation was just, you know, purple flavored battle, it would just be kind of this weird gimmick almost. But negotiation has some pretty key differences with battles. In a negotiation, if you lose a negotiation, you don't die. You just don't get what you were trying to get in that negotiation, right? And in negotiations, it uses this pseudo health called resolve, and you get half of your missing resolve back every time you win a fight and you get pumped, right? So negotiation isn't as important as battle because you can only die by losing a battle, right? Whereas negotiation, you're never going to die if you're bad at it. So you want to be, you know, better at battles. But negotiation gives you these rewards, and because you get your spent resolve back, it's just so much safer when you can do things via negotiation. And a lot of times there'll be situations where you have battles, but you can kind of use negotiation as a modifier to make the battle easier. Right? So you kind of have to weigh these two things together. While negotiation is a lot safer to do, but you always need to have some strength in battle. You can't get through on purple flavored battle alone. And what you're going to find is the optimal Griftlands is to go really hard into negotiation early on, because you can kind of pretty quickly go essentially infinite and win every negotiation pretty trivially, and then use that advantage to snowball winning in battles. But rather than just tell you that, I'm going to show you. So let's get into the game.
You've
Picture your revenge so many times. What if she gets you first? I'm here for Casio. You don't like Casio. That's what this is about. Fish is a bartender. Fish is your favorite. Wants cash out of the picture. I'm not going to dwell too hard on the story because that's something you'll see when you play the game. But you always get these, similar to the whale bonuses in Slay the Spire. The difference is the whale bonus, you have to at least clear the first act in Slay the Spire. That's done as an anti-start scumming measure. They don't seem to care about it here. And in fact, you actually get an extra benefit if you lose. So if you lose your previous run, you get a game end benefit that carries into the very next one, and still one of these. So in this case, we can upgrade a battle card, we can receive a one-shot item, or we can draft negotiation cards. So receiving a one-shot item is usually not the right answer here. The one exception is there is one where you get, I think, 2 grenades, and that can be so powerful. But, like, early on, like I said, our goal is just to get infinite on negotiation as fast as possible. But I'm not going to draft negotiations. Because in this case, when I can get free value for my battle cards, I'm still going to do it. I don't want something transient like this, but an upgrade is just going to help me right now. And I don't need the draft. I've gotten my negotiation engine going without any starting benefits often enough that I'm very confident I can do it again. So I think upgrade battle card is one of the best. And so we see the starting deck. One key thing to note, so Sal's Daggers, when it upgrades, you get Combo and Bloody. So the default one has these cards that go into these two kind of, I'm not going to say archetypes, that's a little grandiose, but these two kind of attributes you can go for. Bleed, which is quite like Poison in Dream Quest and Slay the Spire, but it decays in halves instead of by -1, which is a lot more sensible. So the more you stack Bleed, they take that damage and they have half that Bleed remaining for the next turn. Combo is just this arbitrary resource that other cards will spend. And then you can choose the Combo Daggers, which either give you a better combo granting attack or a finisher that is an AoE finish that does 1 extra damage per combo. Or Bloody Daggers, which gives you something that applies a lot of bleed or still more bleed than the default Saber Grip and 2 to 3 damage. And my point is, I never like to upgrade Sal's Daggers early because I don't know if I want combo or bleed more until I get some more cards. So when I have this upgrade, I pretty much always spend it on Fight Dirty. Improvise is like Discover and Hearthstone. Pops up 3 cards, choose 1. And I always take Promoted, because usually with 3 cards, you'll find something you want, and then I'd rather have it be higher value than trying to get exactly what weaker card I want. 3 upgraded special cards, I'm sure I can find one that'll help me, and the upside is greater. So when I have to pick a very early upgrade, I pretty much always promote my Fight Dirty. Okay, so am I looking to get rough? I'm not going to do the story. Leave that for you. She's got 3 people who are a favor. So the structure of this is always the same. The quests vary, and people's relationships vary. You're going to find out more about that as we kind of advance through the game. Right now there's just Fish likes me. Casio, the person I'm trying to kill, rather sensibly hates me. So these 3 quests always change, but it's always going to be the same structure where we're going to do 2 quests and then do 2 story quests that change much less. So in this case, we hover over them and we see, so Friend or Fanatic, you always get a starting bonus, you always get some amount of shills, and then there's a bonus. So in this case, you're going to get bonus money for 25 shills. This has combat and negotiation elements. This lets me upgrade and has combat and negotiation elements. This lets me heal and has combat negotiation. So I pretty much always start with a pure negotiation if I can find it. The reason is, like I mentioned, you restore half of your lost resolve after winning a battle. That only is useful to you if you've lost some resolve. So I always like to do some negotiations, because even if I get to like 1 resolve left, or even if I lose, I'll still get resolve back as soon as I do 1 fight, and I can keep negotiating, right? So, but in this case, they're all mixed, so in that case, I'd rather just take the upgrade, I think, because it's kind of just the best thing I can get here. And I'll take the heal if I get owned, and otherwise I won't. I forgot to go through the prestige effects, actually, which I probably should have done. But in brief, regarding the prestige effects, I heal only 50% of my health and resolve. This isn't like Slay the Spire where it's 50% of missing, it is 50% of base. But if you get really injured or lose tons of resolve, I won't be at full health. So even on day 1, which is relatively safe, I still want to manage my health some. Also, it's just enemies are harder, bosses are harder, stuff costs more money, negotiations are harder, my pets and allies have less health. Maybe it's just pets, I forget. So this guy, one thing I don't like about Griftlands is, and I know why they do this, everybody does this, they have these events where like they always happen the same way, but you won't know. Sometimes they'll tell you on the hover over what'll happen. Sometimes like this they don't, and you just have to know it as trivia. I don't like trivia in games, but there's not so many events, so you memorize them all pretty quick, and it doesn't bother me so bad. But it is just a thing I don't like. So this guy, he's going to cheat us. We will never win this bet, but then we can go into a negotiation phase to try to bully it out of him. Ideally, we would have liked to have at least kind of 1 negotiation card drafted, just because he's a little strong. It's not our first negotiation. We would have liked someone weaker, but we're still gonna get negotiation going because every time you win a fight, you get to draft one of 3 cards, just like in Slay the Spire, of that type. So we need to. Oh, I won. Huh. Okay. I've never won this. I didn't know you could win this. I've lost it like 5 times and done the negotiation, but I guess you can win sometimes. Okay. Give me my money. Okay, or I can get a fight, but he's 3-star difficulty, and my deck is dog shit. So. Okay. That was interesting. Back to here. So you see that all the people are standing here, so you can form relationships with people. So for example, here's the bouncer. He was a bad example because you can't share drinks with him. I guess I can't share drinks with anyone here because this isn't quite a bar. Duh. The point is, when you go through negotiations or battles, the relationships people have with you will influence how those go. So in this case, it doesn't matter at the beginning, but if I was friends with Hellet, then things would be easier, and I'll show why as we go through. So, Paslock, I'm going to look at this opportunity. You alright there? You look a little stressed. Do I? It's probably going to be dead in a few hours. Oh, really? I'm out money from Herbal, and my boss doesn't even have shit to pay back. So I got to help this person with a debt collector to either give them more time or to make more money for them. So we'll accept this quest. So now we get to pick one of these 3 cards, and this is mixing because it's a combat negotiation. It mixes the pools. If it's up here, one or the other, you draft a card of the type you'll need. So these are the cards we have available. Gain 1 combo for every 2 cards in your hand. Right? So again, combo, this won't do anything, but it will let us spend the combo. Good Impressions is 5/7. Is a lot of resolve damage. But it's each time you end your turn, it gets weaker, so it's a very good opening card. And then Influence. So Negotiations, you kind of have your green and red flavored decks for Influence and Dominance. You do really fundamentally pick one or the other. Unlike your battle deck, which is kind of fluid between archetypes sometimes, your negotiation deck really should be an Influence deck or a Diplomacy or a Dominance deck. It's a shame that I'm drafting before the first one, because it'll make much more sense when you see a negotiation, what I'm talking about. The thing to know is just that getting Influence, we only have 1 card that gets us Influence right now, and that is Sal's Instincts. And this is kind of, your deck starts hybridy, but when you upgrade Sal's Instincts, you choose Diplomatic or Hostile Instincts, and that's really, as Sal's Instincts goes, so goes your deck, right? It's an extraordinarily powerful card. And so we can get Influence, but only through 1 card. And then the combo, you need to have it with Beguile. So that's pretty gamey combo early on. Beguile's a good card later. So Good Impression is kind of a bad card as you go further, but it's quite good for exactly this situation. So I actually think Dominance is usually better than Influence, and I was kind of hoping to show there's kind of one build you always do with Dominance. It always goes the same way. It's always super strong. But in this case, a Good Impression this early on is actually super impactful, and I think it's going to steer us towards Influence. Unless if we get a really good Dominance card next time, we can just remove the Good Impression. But for now, I'm definitely going to take it. And now, this is the first negotiation. Negotiating for a better deal is a special phase that you do for most of these missions that aren't the story missions, that are just for random people. So we're going to click it. You pretty much always negotiate for a better deal, because experience in negotiations, it lets you play cards, and it lets you get stuff when you win. So let me go into this screen, because there's kind of a lot going on. So this is my resolve. It's my core argument. My negotiation health is what resolve is. If I lose it all, I'm out. Can't negotiate anymore. These are called bounties. So when you kill them, I'm going to get an effect. In this case, I'm going to get some shills as a bonus for when I do the quest. But when it's destroyed, the enemy gets Impatience, which gives them 2 more damage for their Intents and Arguments. Intents are, they'll like bounties, they have health, and they're going to float in the little exosphere, but they're going to do bad things to me. Intents are things in this inner circle like this, where it says he's going to do 4 damage. So this turn, Paslock is going to do some argument, or use some new point, and they're going to be 4 mean to me. It's very abstract. what they're doing. And then everybody has a personality, and his is against 2 Composure when a new argument is created. Composure is this shield. It's a 1-turn shield, just like in Dream Quest or Slay the Spire. Once again, a temporary defensive resource that only lasts for the 1 turn is Composure. So in this case, because of his defensive personality, this is the worst guy to ask for money, because on the first turn, you can't hit his core argument. But that's not a huge deal, it just means you've got to go for his bounties. Okay, so now we're gonna look at my hand here. So Sal's Instincts is that really good card I talked about. Deflection is a card that gives you Composure. Quick Thinking is the dirty fighting equivalent of Negotiations. I'm gonna just get to graft one of 3 special cards. And then Fast Talk is the basic influence attack. So the basic dominance attack does 1 to 4, this does 1 to 3. Hey, how come dominance just gets to be better? Well, it's because it's swingier. So the difference between influence and dominance, once again, it's like with the negotiation decks in the battle deck, they're not just green flavored negotiation and red flavored negotiation. They are different. So dominance, each point of dominance makes your hostile cards, your red cards, 1 resolve stronger. They'll do 1 more resolve damage. Influence doesn't have any extra value on the base influence cards. If I have a 99 influence, the Fast Talk will still only do 3 damage. Because all it means is if you have at least 1 influence, your cards do max damage. So you need to rely on other friendly cards, or diplomatic cards, I forget what the word for the green cards. Yeah, diplomatic cards. To rely on your scaling for having a lot of influence. But dominance decays 1 a turn, and influence is forever, unless it gets attacked. So those are kind of the differences. In this case, with this opening hand, since we know we have a Fast Talk, we want to go Inspiration for this hand. And it also, the Inspiration card does 2 damage when you play it, whereas Attitude does not. So that's what we're going to do. We don't mind the damage that badly early. We might defend it because we have nothing better to do, but like I said, because you heal half of your resolve when you win a fight, your first points of resolve are almost free to lose, if you see what I mean. As long as you don't get dangerously low, then you just wait till you have a fight and you'll get it back. And you also see these little hashes at the bottom of the name. So you level up cards by playing them in this game. So the more we play cards, the better they'll get. So that also influences what you play and when sometimes. This spawns a little, so this doesn't have experience, but it's free now, so if we look here, you'll see that this now is 1 of 8 towards its upgrade. So in this case, we got Inspiration, and we know Fast Talk will do 5 damage. So the way it goes with these lose money at the end of each turn, 25% of the money. But when you destroy them, he gets impatient. So on the one hand, I could just destroy this 41 bounty now before it loses money. But then he will get an Impatience brewing already, which will be kind of strong for me. This early on, you are quite weak. So I like to do the money negotiations every time to start leveling up my cards, to start getting the bonuses drafting for winning negotiations. I don't care so much about winning and getting lots of money from these, generally speaking. So I think we're going to break just this 41. He'll get impatient, and then we're just going to start attacking his core argument. We're not here to be greedy. So that's a turn. Now you see we have our resolve, our influence argument, where it's got 2 ticks, but only the first tick matters, except for the fact that there might be other cards that gain it. So you'll notice he can attack these 2. Damage does cleave. So if he just does this, he'll destroy our influence argument and then do 2 damage to our core, because it will cleave over. Also note, so he has 2 new things to look at, right? He has Suspicion. Diplomacy deals -1 damage. And you're like, ouch! Doesn't that mean you want to mix? Not really. You can play around these pretty easily. But there are enemies that favor one or the other for green and red. One brief digression, just in case it doesn't come up, so you make sure you guys know. The purple card's Manipulations, that has these shielding and also kind of weird effects. Like you saw last turn, the Quick Thinking would be a perfect example of that. There is an enemy that does 4 damage to you based on their personality, not an argument, each time you play a manipulation, and that's different. Having an argument that hoses one or the other, dominance or influence, kill the argument. Not that hard. Having a personality that does multiple damage, it scales based on what day you're on and such, but that does consistent damage every time you play a purple card, That's bad. Don't go really deep into manipulation cards to the point that you would lose a fight without them. Use them as a spice to accent your best stuff. So, this is our good impression that we drafted. You see 5. That's a lot of damage. Even with this suspicion, that's making it deal -1 less, it's still got enough to kill that. And now in this case, we are going to kill the suspicion, because we have the influence, at least this turn, and we'll be able to protect it really nicely. This composure will give it exactly 1 health and be super efficient. So we do think we're going to stay using diplomacy. There's also a thing. So in the early game, whether or not you plan on ending as a red deck or a green deck, you can just do your Sal's Instincts for the turn on whatever your hand looks like. Until it upgrades, you need to kind of commit harder. But in this case, we know we want to stay green because these are just stronger, these fast talks. And it also, you are biased to using the one you think you're going to end up on, only because those are the cards that are going to get experience. So you can see in this case, we could kill this. We would get 15 more shills. That's not a lot of shills for the risk we're going to take with them getting another stack of impatience and dealing 2 more damage each time. We're just going to start hitting the core argument. The Compulsion negates 1, will get 2. This is going to defend a random argument, and we don't care because we're just going to go for the core argument now. We got some extra money, we're going to get some experience, we're going to get to draft a card. That's all we're looking for. I also promise the game will be much faster in a second. I just have to explain all the basics. And hey, look at this. We've got enough to just blow this up. We got the perfect draw. We would take 5 resolve damage if we let this through. And we know he's going to make a new argument, which means that defensive will give him resistance. So we're just going to finish it. We're not going to try to greed and play another turn to get more card experience. We're just going to keep our resolve really high. So you see why I always take those, right? Because even if you have a weak deck and you can't get a lot of money, we lost 1 point of resolve and we got a bunch of experience, and we're going to get to pick a card now. Okay. Plum. Not a good card. You don't even get to pick where this composure... Oh, no, you do get to pick where this composure... It's still not a good card. Composure is not so hard to go by, and 2 is a lot of influence. No. Bad card. Bad card. Brainstorm. Pretty bad card. It's pretty easy to keep your draw and action cycles in sync. There's a lot of cards that kind of let you, in tricky ways, manipulate your hands small. So, solid point. Fine card. It's not OP or anything, but it's a play when draw, which is very good early on. Because, of course, in the beginning of the game, everything costs 1, and I'm drawing 5 cards, right? So, again, another similarity to Slay the Spire and Dream Quest, this sort of 3 actions, 5 cards dynamic, means that your first 1 or 2 cantrips are just free value. If you get too many cards that are free, then you can go the other way and have your clock desync, but it always starts skewed towards having more cards than actions. So, solid point is just going to give us 1 damage and free influence. Solid card, and yeah, we're probably staying Diplomacy and not Dominance now that we have 2 Diplomacy cards. It's a shame. I think the Dominance deck is a little more powerful. I wanted to show off how OP it was, but... So we can either convince Sindreo to let Pazlok more ships to the dig site, or we can ask Urbla for more favorable repayment terms. So you can go here, we can hover over, we could beat him up, but there's a guard here, so that's not smart, unless I was going to. Now, it's never smart in this situation to bribe the guard. Like I said, I definitely want to do negotiations early, but I just want to show you the kind of stuff you can do in Griftlands. I could pay the guard 83, and that costs more because I'm on Prestige 6, to turn and help me beat this guy up. Or I could just pay them so that in those negotiations, they would have helped me. And people helping in negotiations is not that impactful. They just do one sort of effect right at the start of the negotiation of minor utility. It helps some, but it's not a huge deal. Having them turn for you in the fight is really good, and we could absolutely beat this guy up. But why should we? Let's go, use this resolve meter, get a bunch of negotiating done, take some damage there. So let's see what the negotiation looks like with Urbla. Ask for an extension. So, were they both 30? I mean, there's kind of... And this is one of the weird ones, so there's not a great indication of which one to do. I just feel like nobody wants to do more work, right? So I feel like the person would like me more if I just got them better terms. I don't actually know here. Like I said, most of the stuff you can just kind of memorize that's opaque like that. This is one that isn't. This Urbla is an easier fight, right? because there's no guard here. But again, we're just going to negotiate. Why? Get down, motherfucker. Okay, there's another person with defensive. Alright. So once again, we're going to do exactly that same turn 1. We're going to pop the inspiration. We're going to pop fast talk. We're going to do composure. And worth noting, if one of our composures had experience and one didn't, I would use the one with experience here. I definitely prioritize leveling up cards as quickly as possible. So I stack, you know, those who have get more or whatever. Okay, so that's unfortunate. This came exactly in time so that fast talk doesn't kill it. So we're going to try a threaten. Oh, another important thing to note is that even though I'm pretty sure I'm going green, leveling up the threatens is still not bad for me. Because there's a pool of like 5 or 6 upgraded versions of these basic cards. Most normal cards you choose from one of 2 upgrades. But the negotiation, the basic ones, for both negotiation and battle, actually just the basic cards have like pools of upgrades. And upgraded threatens and upgraded fast talks, one of their options is a clarity version, where it will be a very high value once and then destroy itself, right? So we want to level up this threaten because if it's a clarity threaten that destroys itself, then we don't have to pay to remove it from our deck. We're also going to try the threaten now because this is inhibiting our diplomacy, and this is a coin flip chance of just killing that. So, so we're going to use fast talk, finish it off. We're going to use the 2 experience 1, and then we're going to reflect here. The nice thing is, so unlike that guy who had the impatience, she is going to scale. I mean, everybody has some impatience they get intrinsically as the turns go on, just as your clock to stop you from farming them. But her timing is a lot less severe, so we can farm her a little bit more than we farmed that last guy. So rather than going deep for damage, we'll just shield whenever we can, hit with whatever's left, and until she starts getting some stronger intents and stuff, we can really just try to get some experience for our cards. Definitely the good impression. This is when it's strong. Definitely do this. Definitely do a fast cut. So you can see here, this is the thing that sucks versus dominance. The influence, the fact we have 4 of it isn't helping us at all. But eventually we'll get cards that scale off that higher value. And so this is what's called a bounty. So sometimes, instead of an argument, the opponents get bounties, which are things that help you when you kill them. In this case, this is just a more efficient target. She'll lose 6 resolve when you hit it, not 2. So we're definitely going to Sal's Instincts, even though we already have enough influence, we don't need any more. I just want to level this as soon as humanly possible. So we'll hit this with the Inspiration, we'll get that 6 damage through. We're going to put Composure here. I feel bad I'm not showing off Quick Thinking, but it's better to just do the damage here. Quick Thinking, I mean, what I'll tell you is it's got a lot of kind of defensive cards. There's one that gives a higher composure values. There's one that gives a argument with bait, which means they have to target that argument first. There's one that makes your opponents more vulnerable to attacks. There's one that makes your opponents less damaging. Lots of little tricky stuff, but in this case, just hitting them with our base damage is better. In this hand, if I had Quick Thinking over Threaten, I would use a Quick Thinking, but I don't. So it's this, and a higher level Threaten. Bonk. So now her first Impatience tick started, but remember the last one, that guy had it first. So now you see the problem with Good Impression in any extended negotiation, so it's getting super shitty. But it's really good for its high flat early on. I would have to use 2 Composures to defend this. I think I might just let it die, because like I said, I know I'm getting a Sal's Instincts next turn, and it doesn't matter if I have 1 influence or 10 at this point. I have no cards that scale with the amount of influence yet. And the other nice thing that's going to let me do is just basically save a card, because I'm going to defend this with 3 more, then there'll be no cleave damage. It'll just sort of absorb her stuff for 3. And also she's got 4 Composure on this argument, so I am going to use Quick Thinking, looking for something that will help me next turn, because it's going to be... I'll do 1 damage with the cards in my hand, right? So... Okay, here we go. So I can Incept Vulnerability. Inception is their term for putting something in the opponent's brain, so it adds it to their side of the field. So this will make all the results... So this might actually make my damage more useful. I could get the argument with 2 Resolve and Bait, but I kind of like my influence dying here because it's going to work out exactly. Or I can get a special hostility. So there is a one free hostile and diplomatic attack in Quick Thinking. The hostile attack is just a free little one. The idea is just if you've got a lot of dominance, doesn't matter what the base value is. The one for influence is really nice because it does 0 to 6 damage, which as long as you have influence, at least one influence, all diplomatic cards do their max damage, so it's 6, so it's strong. But in this case, we're going to do the Stammer. His next turn, we'll be able to hurt. Now you can already see these do 3 and 4. So we're going to do 1 deflection. It's going to defend 3, it's going to go exactly, and now Fast Talk still doesn't do enough to kill it. And since neither of them do enough to kill it, I guess I will keep my influence alive. I have no reason to keep it alive, but I just have no reason not to. Because I'm not getting through, and then this way at least I'm getting some... there's another... She could potentially hit this again and save my main. Okay. So now she's impatient. Her numbers are getting bigger. She also played Irritable. Gains 1 whenever a card is played and reaches 10, I lose 5 resolve. So I have to kill it before playing 10 cards, or I'll lose 5 resolve. But I can probably just win because here's Bone Tired. So watch. If we Sal's Instincts, the Inspiration, then... So we're going to do the Threaten first because that... We want to defend. 6 is a little much, but not if I don't have to. And I know I could probably pull it off next turn. She's only playing 1 more argument, so she's only going to get 2 more Composure from defensive. Oh, but I guess she also would get the 2 from Resolve from Impatience. Or no, but that won't apply to her core argument, yeah. So we're going to do the Threaten first and make sure it does not do the minimum, does at least 3. And then we're just going to end it. Okay. Wow, we've drawn Dick All for Hostility. I'm glad I didn't super force it. I think it's like a 60-40 that you should favor Dominance. If the pool looks about equal, go Dominance. If it looks a little green, still go Dominance. But to this degree, it was correct to go Diplomacy. So, Pure Style, it's a Manipulate card, but it's effectively a Dominance card. Because all your cards deal maximum damage this turn. That's what Influence does, buddy. So that's going to do... Pure Style only helps my Threatens right now, right? Unless I don't have Influence, which... I have 2 cards to give it, and I'm going to just do nothing but... I'm going to make sure I've got Influence, right? That's the whole point. So Pure Style is only good for Dominance, and even then it's only good for very wide cards. You can get some cards in Dominance that deal like 0 to 8 damage. So that's when Pure Style is good. Intrigue is our first card that scales with our Influence. We can spend 2 to deal 4 bonus damage. So you can see that now when sitting on that huge bank of like 7 Influence, now there's a point. Intrigue's not a great card, but if you've got no Influence scaling and you need damage, which does apply to us, we will take it. We would not take a second Intrigue, but just to give our deck some more zest, because we're going to do as much negotiating as possible. Sorry, I read very fast, but she's saying we're trying to basically have her delay the deck just so that we can have the person say, oh wow, what a nice deck collector that furry person was. A lot of furry people in this world. Maybe it's cold. Everyone does seem to be dressed pretty warmly here. So we go to Pazlock, we tell him we got him better terms. Yeah, this is the one thing, I don't know this quest. The number one thing to do, debt dealers, not to pay shills. I find the lore of this slightly suspect. It should definitely be a barter thing. So I'm going to get upgrading. So I hope you kind of can already appreciate how strong we are in negotiations already. And how little I need to spend that upgrade. I mean, the Sal's Instincts I'm going to upgrade very soon because I'm going to be playing it. When you can pick between upgrades, it's like 90-10 that you should pick the battle upgrade. Of course, problem is, like I said, we don't know what we want to do with our daggers yet. So we're probably just going to upgrade a Feint, because as you can see, Feint requires 10 plays. And it's also, what you want to do with an upgraded Elbow Strike or Stab depends a lot on your deck, but the Feint upgrades are a lot more straightforward, what's good and what isn't good. So we're going to just upgrade a Feint. Okay. So we can get a Kradeshi Feint, which gives us 4 defense and 4 healing, but it has Expend, which means once per encounter. Lucid Feint is 6 and Expend. Kradeshi Feint is pretty obviously better than Lucid Feint. The only time this is better is if you're at full health this turn, and you're going to take 5 or 6 or 5 plus damage, and this will mitigate 2. But this gives you effectively 8 points of defense, 4 defense, and 4 healing. Healing being better than defense, and it's a higher number when you add them together. So this is only worse exactly when you're at full health, in which case, what the fuck do you care if your cards are good at? You're at full health! You don't need good cards, right? You're doing fine. So clearly it's Kodeshi Fight. And it's not even close, actually. So, hey-oh. So now you get these. This is one thing, it fucked me over right in the beginning with the orange ones. These are temporary things to do between missions. So we still have the 2 missions to choose between. But we have to do one of these now or never. And you should always do them because they're almost always positive. There's a couple that can have negative impacts, but they've got big rewards. In this case, we can either choose healing or resolve. Well, we have full health and not full resolve, so meditation spot I value very lowly because, like I said, resolve is like pretty easy to get back. But obviously we're at full health, so why not? And what's nice is we're about to get this, where this guy got attacked by Admiralty. I can choose to protect him, or I can hide him. As you can kind of infer, again, this is where I think they may as well tell you in the UI, because it would be annoying to just be surprised. But in this case, it's pretty obvious. If I protect, we'll get in a fight. If I hide, I've got to lie to them. Well, I'm going to go walk to get more resolve back. And I want to do as much negotiating as I humanly can in the early game, because Sal's Instincts leveling is such a power spike, and once I kind of get there, then I can just keep on winning negotiations and keep getting the benefits. So we're going to hide Gura, the patrol comes, and Zeta we're going to trick into looking elsewhere. Am I sure? Yes, I am. So this person has Abuse of Power. They incept Planted Evidence, which is a 1 health bounty that I'll have, that if they kill it, it will do 2 damage in addition to the cleave. Okay. So, Intrigue, we don't have the bonus influence, but it's still more damage than a Fast Talk, so this is easy turn. Boom, boom, boom. Plus we want the Intrigue to level up. It's better. So there's our Planted Evidence. There's also this Interrogate. It does 2 to 4 damage each turn to a random argument. So we're going to Master Blast this nerd. Because of the cleave, a lot of times target selection doesn't matter. Sometimes it'll matter, especially once you start getting AoE cards in your deck. You need to plan around leaving the arguments up until your AoE comes and you get more efficiency versus just hitting them. This is especially important because AoE still cleaves. This is super important to understand about negotiations. So if I had a card, for example, Overbear, which is a Dominate card, and a big part of why Domination is better than Diplomacy, just hits all the arguments. So let's say I'm doing 5 damage to each of my opponent's arguments. I do 5, and then I do 5, and this has 2 health, so I do 3 more to the core, right? So AoE is super duper strong. But in this case, we don't have AoE, so we're just going to use our best attack. And this because we want it to die. We're going to deflect this. And we're going to take the 1 damage. Just keep... Oh wait, I should have threatened here because I don't have influence, so... I want to level that threaten eventually, and without influence is the best time. So this is a new argument. At the end of the turn, they're going to steal 10 shills. I want my shills. And the good news is 10, you may recognize, is exactly this number. However... I made an error here. So technically speaking, you should always start by looking at your hand and seeing if you think you might play Quick Thinking, and we know we're going to, because we have no huge need to double deflect, and this might, I mean technically double deflection would save this and single won't, but there's so many things in Quick Thinking that give some sort of defense that we definitely want to do that first. See, this can give us 2 composure and 2 friendly arguments, but we could also just hit him for 4. No, we're gonna just... So that was actually a little worse, because he's only hitting the 1, but it still let us level the Quick Thinking, which I prefer to leveling the, you know, the composures. And then we're gonna get our influence down, and we're gonna blast that money. So nope, can't destroy Planted Evidence. Defending the Planted Evidence is good, because then they don't get a new one with Abuse of Power, right? So I tend to defend this pretty strongly, even when I could just defend my core argument and take the damage, because, you know, it just stops them from making new ones, right? So there's always going to be one, you may as well just work with it. So now we finally get our advantage from Intrigue. We're going to get our 7 damage. Now we can't save the Planted Evidence, and we're sad about it. We don't have the composures, but we did a good run. Some with the Fast Talk. We'll still Doesn't matter which one we put it on now because it's just going to cleave regardless. But we're going to get our resolve back, so I don't care. Okay. So we have only one influence now, so Intrigue won't do extra. But we can do that and that. We'll still level the Intrigue over the fast talk and do the same damage here. Okay, starting to get impatient with us, but that's fine. We're already pretty much there. It's definitely... Ooh, this is actually a lot of damage. And we don't have lethal either. This kind of blows. But we're going to be healing resolve, so it's fine. That. Actually, I should have gone for dominance, maybe, because I have a threaten and I'm probably going to use it even. Well, I'm definitely going to deflect this because it's going to live with 1 health. That's just efficiency. And then now I've got to choose if I want to threaten or if I want to deflect. In this case, I'm going to have influence next turn. And he's not going to get any more composure. So I think I'm fine to deflect, because I think I'll probably have lethal next turn. With 2 fast talks, I just need to draw 1 more attack card, or like diplomacy attack card. Otherwise I can quick thinking and try to find observation. So, pretty likely I destroy this guy. But I didn't do it. Okay, so we're going to quick thinking first and see if we get observation. We didn't. We can get stammer though. Which is going to increase the resolve loss by 1, which will get us exactly 1 off lethal. So instead, we're going to drop the gossip. So that's just saying, but oh my god, but did you hear about Samantha? He's like, Samantha? So it's going to effectively, in this case, it's effectively 2 composure, so it's worse than drawing the composure. Because he's still going to do enough to cleave even with the deflection. But there are some times when the bait is better than just getting composure, so it's situation dependent. And we're going to get our first leveled up fast talk. So we have 1 damage. This is fine. I think we're still going to be at yeah, our max is 31, so we're still going to be fine. Definitely we want to do a Sal's Instincts again. Yeah, I think I just want to level these 2. So I want to do Intrigue last because it will kill. There we go. So look how much already. Look at these bars. And we're at like the first part of day 1. This is how you play Griftlands. So in this case, if this would have us over the moon if we were dominance. This is exactly what you want of your non-matching. In this case, you have to say, well, Clarity Fast Talk. It's still sometimes correct to take Clarity if I had a lot of damaging diplomacy stuff. And Fast Talk is just worse than my good ones. But in this case, Good Intentions goes to 0 in long fights. It's just Intrigue. We still need 3 Fast Talks to be at our peak. So we're going to take the Visionary. Yeah. But you would always take it as a dominance deck. So build Rapport. Sounds good, but really isn't. Sometimes you have to take Build Rapport, but very rarely, and you never feel good about it. And again, that's because scaling up, you need a finisher for it to matter. So first we need to get a card that cares about it. And I mean, Intrigue is not really a finisher, because we get 2 influence from that, so it doesn't scale infinitely. There's basically 1 card that does, and it's very strong, and that's what we're looking for. But, we're just not so hard up for influence. We want to spend 1 action to just do nothing but gain 2 of it. Magnetic Charm, I've never actually played with, but Magnetic Charm actually seems good. Because we're going to be stacking our deck with Diplomacy, so, see, this will give us influence, but also card draw. So we're going to try the Magnetic Charm. I'm not even sure if this is good, but the other cards definitely aren't. So we're going to help Gura. I'm going to take them to Better Living Chemists to get help. I think I can still do the resolve after this, but even if I can't, I'd rather do this, because this is going to make me someone who loves me. And then I'll get a benefit. So Gura loves me. I now have 2 max health, which is unfortunately not a great... I don't know why. There's a 2 max health and there's a 5 max health. So, like, I don't know why you sometimes just get the better amount of health, but you only get 2 from this guy. But Gura loving me is also good because if I go somewhere where Gura is present, Gura will help me in arguments and I think sometimes fights. So there we go. We made a new friend. So now, let's say we get a quest. Oh, this is a shame that we now. So this is a perfect example. If I was with Herbla, doing exactly the quest I was just doing with Herbla, but Gura was already my friend, Gura would have done an impact for me at the start of the negotiation, depending on their role. Okay, so we did have to choose that over the resolve, but I'm fine with that choice because, like I said, as soon as we do a fight, this is all going to come back, and we're not desperate yet. So now we can choose this, which has restoring 10 health or 10 resolve. Often it's quite good to restore, especially on Prestige 5 and plus, where you don't heal. So we're going to heal half of our health and resolve at the end of each night. That's half of max, not half of remaining, like Slay the Spire. But, you know, keeping it up on the higher prestige is kind of nice. But in this case, I'm not that worried. I would rather just get my more money. Day 1 is not that hard, and our negotiation deck is doing pretty well already. Delina. Didn't think my deal involved with grifter dealing. He wants me to rescue someone from the Admiralty. Nay, hard to believe some miscreants got the jump on her. I'll look for her. Sure, I will look for her. So, just the facts is pretty bad. Smarts is a thing that gives you extra actions at the start of your turn, but you need to spend 2 actions on the turn you do it. So it combos off with specifically cards that want lots of actions. But as you noticed, it's not that hard to get in a holding pattern where you early game are super duper safe. So I just think it's unnecessary. You have to draw the card, you have to play the card. It's a lot of work when the ground level negotiation is so high. There's a lot of fancy stuff that just... You get a turn of less impact where they can hurt you for upside you don't need all that much, as long as you have any sort of scaling. So we're going to look at the battle cards, especially because our battle deck is quite shitty right now. So Exertion, gain 2 actions, choose 1 next turn. Obviously combos with stuff where you want to do a lot in 1 turn. There's some of that element in Griftlands. There's not as much as you would hope, cards that like combo off how much you've done this turn. There's a few, but not a ton. We're probably just going to take Stomp, spend 2 combo, this costs 0, and go into combo cards. Because that's something we can get value for right now. We'll use Sal's Daggers, we'll use Hammer Grip, we'll gain 2 combo. We'll use that for Stomp. Like I said, just like in Slay the Spire and Dream Quest, since the starting economy is 3 actions to 5 cards, the free card will be good. So we're going to not quite hard commit to combo off this 1 card, but we're going to definitely start looking at combo over bleed, because we just need something. So now, of course, we take the negotiation for the better deal. Priests are interesting. They've got pretty strong arguments, but they don't do anything turn 1. So this is a time when that smarts card would be okay. Let's do Visionary, see if we can get some influence. And let's just work on... Let's break his highest money. Oh, here we go. Let's try this Magnetic Charm out. Now we got Influence. But only once, the Entreak, but we're still going to do the Entreak because it does more damage. So we're going to start working this, and the next turn we're going to kill this before it loses too much money, kills arguments, and then because we have no AoE, we probably need to call it. Because this guy gets dangerous because he gets multiple arguments. You see he's got this one, that adds 1 Resolve and Composure to an argument each turn, and this one that hits all of my arguments. So, Sal's Instincts, we're going to level it up this time, which is cool. Let's have this kill exactly the 2. Oh, I should have killed that like I said I was going to. He could have gotten Resolve for a turn. Well, maybe I'll get Observation from here. Hey, I'm great. Thank you. And then, brilliant. We're going to kill this multi-attack. We're going to take no damage because he didn't have an attack attempt, just that one. And then I don't care if he's impatient because he's not even doing anything this turn. And we can kill him next turn unless we're safe enough to just stall, which he's not doing any damage right now. So, sure. Let's get all of his shit. And a 1. And a 2. And a 3. This is going to give Resolve to the argument, but it's only got 2 core health. So I don't care about Resolve and Impatient. We're going to be able to kill him next turn. There we go. Cleaned up. So you've got a Bounty where we'll get 2 influence when we kill it. Another big damaging attack. I don't care about any of that shit. We're We're going to Magnetic Charm to level it. We're going to level Quick Thinking. We're going to level Intrigue. Get out my face! So that's a lot of damage, as you can see. That Impatience does get you with the multi-attacking. Here we go! This is now time to pick our spec. No prizes if you guess where I want to go. So when you pick these, you always get the card that is, like, the other color from the starting Styles Instinct. So Diplomatic still has Attitude, Hostile still has Inspiration. Weirdly, and I don't understand why, this has exactly the same card, but it calls it Obtuse. So there's Attitude, and then this is Obtuse. So that's one negative to Diplomacy. You don't get a better card to gain Dominance. What you gain with Hostile Instincts is Mean, which is insanely great, right? It's 4 damage for the 1, and it also gains whatever you get from Dominance. So Hostile Instincts is really strong because you can choose to get Dominance, and if you already have Dominance, you can spend it on a big attack. Diplomatic Instincts is kind of the same way. The attack is a little less good, although it is AoE, which, like I've said, AoE is quite strong in this. So Flatter is really good in that respect. But it doesn't go arbitrarily scaling like Mean does, which is why I like Dominance a little more as an archetype. But I'm fine with Diplomatic here, because Complement is better than Obtuse. Complement, you gain the 2 Influence, then you don't get to aim it like you do with Inspiration, it's random, but it does damage equal to half your Influence, so it's a half scaling effect, which is, like we said, any scaling helps with Influence cards. So definitely leveling the Diplomatic Instincts. You can also see what your bank is first, but in this case it didn't matter. Subtlety, not that good. Like I said, balancing the clock's not the hardest. I don't want to spend for fucking 3 damage just to be able to lose Influence and draw cards. Right now I'm not sitting around having tons of Influence with nothing to spend it on. You have to work pretty hard to get there. Beguile is kind of interesting. Every time it's drawn while you have Influence, it does 3 more damage. So 7, then 10, then 13. Gives you a little bit of that oomph. We're going to get 1 Beguile, just really hammering our strength home. Also because I don't actually know, because I've never played with Magnetic Charm, but Clay tends to, when I say Clay, like Griftlands specifically, tends to, when you have on-draw effects, prioritize them before the card gets in your hand. So I'm fairly certain that Beguile will trigger. If I draw Beguile off Magnetic Charm with no Influence, I'm fairly sure Magnetic Charm will give me the Influence, and then Beguile will get buffed. Haven't used it, so I don't know. But my assumption on how other cards work is that it will work like that. So we're going to get our bonus shills, get our card, and we're going to go to the comp. We're also going to turn on fast mode here. I wanted to show you a few of the conversations so you can see what those look like, but since I'm explaining things in this Let's Play, it is going to take an awful long time, and I want to give you guys something that's kind of new for you when you play Griftlands. So we're going to ignore the story and stuff from this point forward. We're going to go into fast mode. Whoosh. So, we're going to meld back in the... Okay, I guess... Yeah, there's fast mode. Okay. So I can either threaten or ambush. So this is actually an interesting one. The threatening... The opponent has plus 10 resolve, which at this point I don't care. I've become very strong in negotiation. But I'll have advantage, and this is only a 2-star unit with no backup. I do need to get some more battle cards. So we're going to take the fight here. Even though I really like negotiating to kind of protect my health pool, I just need to get some experience on these cards and some better cards. Also, this person has Formation, which applies defense to allies if they didn't take damage, so Clove is a really easy person to ambush. So that's one important thing to know. Even when your broad fundamentals give you wanting to do negotiation over fight, if it's going to be a really easy fight, take the easy fight just so you can get the experience in the safe environment. Especially because if this guy doesn't scale up, unlike the impatience for negotiations that everybody intrinsically has, there's no equivalent in battles. Some enemies scale as happenstance, but there isn't the same kind of like every single enemy is going to get stronger and stronger element. So you can sometimes rope-a-dope a lot better in a fight and get a lot of experience done. So we're going to feint. We're going to definitely Sal's Dagger because we probably want the combo daggers. We'll definitely know by the time Sal's Dagger's level if we're doing combo or bleed. So I'll let it as quick as possible. And then Elbow Strike takes less experience than stabs. Let's just get that moving. This is a very strong card that we upgraded, but we don't need strength here. We want experience, right? We'll use the strength if it starts looking like we're going to take damage, but until then, we'll save our Kodeshi Feint's heal too, right? We're just going to bada bump, bump, boom, pow. I'm exposed, I get less defense, but I don't know. Convince me that you're going to hurt me, and then I'll fucking get some defense. How about that? So I do that, I do that, I do that. Combo. Scampo. Okay, so now I'm going to take 1 damage. Oh no. Oh no, I didn't draw my Kodeshi Feint. I can't heal that 1 damage this turn. This is one argument against promoting the Fighting Dirty, and this, I almost don't want to hit him. I want to, like, rope-a-dope here. So it's kind of nice to have Fighting Dirty, because you can play Fighting Dirty and then not play the card it spawns to level it. So here we've only got one thing that we can level up on without hurting him. And so we're just a little upset about that. So we had to end it. I could have rope-a-doped more for just the defense, but I also want this video to be watchable. So I have this choice between executing and accepting surrender. I don't know why you execute in this game. I've seen very few reasons to do it, because when somebody surrenders, you still get rewards, and when you execute, pretty much everybody has a best friend who will hate you when you kill their friend. So I don't know why you would execute most of the time. Sometimes in the story they ask you to. I guess if you were fighting someone who already hated you, because just like someone loving you gives you a buff, someone hating you gives you a permanent debuff. And I guess if somebody hates you and has a really nasty hate effect, maybe you just kill them thinking their friend can't be worse than them. But I don't know. I pretty much always just take surrenders. Maybe there's a reason to take kills, but I've accidentally gotten some kills via bleed. I've gone way over the threshold and I've never liked it, so in this case, we can gain defense, gain bonus, or we can get bonus finishing damage per combo. We're going to do Haymaker. We get the combo daggers. This will be more damage. We're going combo. Haymaker's not great, but early on, we just need some cards that aren't fucking stabs and elbow strikes. And Haymaker is neither stab nor elbow strike. One quick thing, the Grog and Drog is pretty much always on the map. You can get Resolve and Healing there, but it puts cards for being drunk or bloated in your deck, which you have to play to burn, and it'll be like bloated costs 2 actions. So you don't want to heal from the Grog and Dog unless you really need it, because it will fuck up your deck. Only once, but still. So now you see, we have someone who likes us because we did their mission. We can get them to love us by giving them shills. And we would get his bells. In this case, Bells of Hesh. Well, in this case, I don't want Bells of Hesh. I'm fine in negotiations. I would want 200 shills a lot more than winning at this shit I already win at. And Atilia gave me Bells of Hesh for free because I saved her, so she loves me, not just likes. Oh, whoops. I minimized to my desktop. So it might have frozen the video briefly. Okay. So I definitely don't want a second Bells of Hesh, so I'm very glad I didn't take it. Okay. So now we have a story mission at Grog and Dog. I get one more chance to do these. I can either go to a desolate battlefield. Desolate battlefields will have loot. It's of various tiers, and then the better tier loot you take, the worse fight you risk. Socializing gives you resolve and makes them like you more. One thing that bugs me about these liking you mores is sometimes it's someone who likes you and sometimes it's someone who loves you. So Gura loves me, I won't get anything. If this had been someone who likes me, them liking me more would have gotten me a benefit. It would have got me a boon. Gura liking me more doesn't do anything. So do I want more resolve? Not especially. I am quite well on resolve, so we're going to take Battlefield. I'm a bit iffy on Battlefield because sometimes you can get some really nasty fights out of the one that takes the longest. So I can get the Healing Vapors safely, 6 Mending, regen like Slay the Spire. I can get a Combat Drone, one-shot card that gives me a drone, pretty powerful. Not so much for the damage, but because enemies will attack it instead of me. Or the Company Band, which is a Graft. So Graft are like relics. You get 3 of each for battles and negotiations. This is if I get pets, they'll have more health. I don't know if I'm going to get a pet. I'm going to do the Combat Drone, not just because I almost prefer it to Company Band. This can for sure mitigate damage in a tough fight. This only helps if I get a pet. But also, what I want... So this one has a half chance of spawning a weak fight. This has, like, I think a certain chance, or at least a high enough percent I've never seen otherwise, of spawning a rough fight. I want an easy fight, so I can get more rope-a-dope, potentially, and just get more good cards. So So I'm hoping that a single enemy shows up when I take this combat drone, but I made it away. I think it's coin flip. It seems to be about 50-50. Oh well, free combat drone. Definitely better than the resolve. So there are night merchants. Again, that's all scrolling past because I'm doing fast mode. To make this video go a little faster and to not spoil. So there's the 3 people. The night market, you can go shop there each day. Plaka does graphs. Rake does combat cards. There's a 3rd guy that does negotiations. You'll get 2 of the 3 and have to choose between one of them. The one who you help will like you. The one you don't help will hate you. So here's the thing. Removing battle cards is insanely important because there's a lot of stupid bullshit in my deck. You cannot piss off Rake. If Rake is here, you must pick her. It's a shame to have the Rake-Plaka split because Plaka does graphs, and graphs are quite expensive. So you don't want to piss her off because when somebody doesn't like you, you pay a percentage-based surcharge, right? But even if Plaka's individual items are worth more, sometimes you don't want the graft. You pretty much always want to remove a card. So you must pick Rake if she's in the choosing. And then if it's between Plaka and the diplomacy guy, I always choose Plaka. So that's the order. The one other thing is if you have no fucking resolve left and you don't want to get drunk, then you might have to pick the negotiation guy or Plaka because Rake's mission is a negotiation mission. But we certainly have plenty of resolve. So you'll see here, the fight. I guess I've never done the fight, so maybe it's an easy fight. So I guess, yeah, ignore that point. I don't know if Rake is negotiation only. You can probably fight, and it's probably not too bad. But yeah, just always pick Rake, and then Plaka. Never pick the negotiation guy. So this guy gets more resolve because it's about business, but I don't give a shit because I'm so good at negotiations already. So we're trying to get Rake a little more time. And so this is an example of the help. So sometimes they'll do flat damage, sometimes they'll give you a buff. So in this case, she put in Flustered. So he does less resolve, 33% less resolve damage for 2 turns with 2 Incepted Flustered. So that's what Sal gave me for being on my side, and that's the kind of benefit you should expect, the kind of power level, if you get in a negotiation with your friends around, for example. So, let's do the quick thinking first. Get that moving. We would take Observation if we had Influence, but we don't. We could just get a free Composure card and then hit with other stuff. But let's just get the Stammer down. Make him more vulnerable for 2 turns. Because we can just deflect, defend this 3, and we can pop an Intrigue and it does more damage because of the vulnerability. Okay. So his ability, he gives you a kickback every turn, which actually is a free card that does damage, but you've got to pay him shills. And eventually it's hard to avoid it because your hand becomes full of these fucking kickbacks. But he's still one of the weaker guys, because if it ever gets out of hand, you just spend the money and kill him. And if it doesn't get out of hand, then it's effectively no penalty, right? So let's do the fast talk first, because we think our turn is going to be Deflect, Good Impression, Visionary. But let's Visionary first in case we draw something that changes our mind. Hey, we just got that free solid point. Nice. So we could kick back, but I don't want to pay him the shills. I think we'll just destroy him. We are quite strong in negotiation, as you will be almost every game, because it's pretty easy to become strong at negotiation if you just don't pick the shitty cards. This sucks. Didn't have influence. Wait, we did have influence. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, it's 7. Okay. In this case, I could Magnetic Charm, but I don't really see a point, because I could just smash him with Diplo, Beguile. So let's just do that. Gain some extra so that our, we have that spare influence on tap for Intrigue. And we're going to just Beguile him. We'll take the 4. This is the last negotiation of, or the second to last negotiation of the night. Since these are story quests, it's always going to be the same. Someone's going to fight us in the bar. We can negotiate the bouncer to help us out. So we need to have enough left to win that negotiation, but that piddly bit of damage isn't going to threaten that. This is a bad situation. We wish we had a little bit of composure, but we can still take this damage and be fine. We get 1 extra card draw because we killed something that did tribute. Okay. So we could try to Magnetic Charm for some composure, but 3 influence is kind of all we need right now. We need to play Bad Deal if we're not going to win. You have to pay 15 shills or lose 8 resolve. Oftentimes you can kill him on the bad deal turn, but we don't quite have lethal here. They are pretty strong though, so we can complement, I guess, visionary fast talk. See what we, but yeah, we're always just gonna pay the bad deal. Do I need to kick back? Next turn he's doing an argument in 2 turns, he's doing composure in 1 turn. So yeah, next turn he's gonna turtle up, not kill, and I think we can kill in 2 turns, so I don't think we need to kick back. Plus, if we decide we need to kick back, we'll probably have a kickback next turn. Because our hand is going to be fucking full of them. Whoosh. Okay, now we get our defense. Here we go. Thinking, what do we get? Vulnerability. We deflect here. It's quite efficient. It won't die. And we can do the rest too. Cleave through the composure. 13. It's going to have a new argument. But we're going to draw a kickback. I was going to say we might need to use a kickback. But actually no, because Beguile's going to hit 11 when we draw it. So actually we just win whenever we draw Beguile. We don't need to do any kickbacks. Just sit and defend. Now he's getting his first impatience, yeah, but I don't care. Just give me... There it is. So Beguile. Intrigue will kill, and then let's get one on good impression too. Oh wait, Beguile is 2. Okay. Beguile. This could have leveled, I guess, but so even though I prioritize stuff that's close to leveling over stuff that isn't, stuff like Beguile that's harder to play, I prioritize more. It's going to be so much easier to get that last Intrigue, but since Beguile costs 2, and it's a little harder to slot in, so I'd rather use Beguile while I can there. That's why I did it that way. In this case, we can draw a card or gain 4 composure. So this is when we stop and kind of audit how many cantrips do we have? How many times do we have situations where we think we might have actions and no cards to use them? Well, we've already got a draw card, right? Draw 2, in fact. And our only freebie right now is Solid Point. So drawing is not that good for us right now. It's very easy to just say, do 1 more composure, please. Okay. Setup I kind of said isn't good. Swift Rebuttal is kind of interesting. Improvise a 0-cost card from your discard pile. Unfortunately, this does not cost 0. This is cost undefined. So this is when something like setup could be good, right? You see, oh, well, I could get 2 influence. It could get me some more damage or something, and with Swift Rebuttal, I'd get it for free. But if you don't have Swift Rebuttal, you have to draw this card, and it's a really kind of stupid 2-card combo. So I'm just going to skip. But I want to call attention to Erupt, because this is part of why Dominance is good. It has a lot of these when you play X Hostile in a single turn. And crucially, if you have Erupts, they trigger other Erupts, and you evoke stuff from your draw pile, not just your hand. So Erupt is a very common pickup in Hostility decks, and since it's common, you can get it a lot. In this case, none of this stuff is worth bogging our deck down. We helped Rake. She loves us. Night market time. The night market opens near the end of each day. So Endo is neutral, Plucka hates us, Rake loves us. So we can't afford these because because she hates us and we're on the Ascension Prestige 6 where stuff costs more. The good news is I don't want this shit because these are both negotiation grafts. And I'll pick up negotiation grafts when I find them, like in the store on the floor. You almost never need to buy them with money because, again, if I can stress one thing about Griftlands, negotiation is so easy to be good at, and you get so many benefits. So now we're going to look at Rake. So now we get discounts, and it negates the Prestige 6 cost increase, so it only costs 46. Like Dream Quest and Slay the Spire, it costs progressively more expensive as you remove cards, but who cares? It's a good thing to do. But we're going to look at the store first. Can we buy something that makes us stronger? So Backstab works if you have Improvise, cards that make you pick one of 3 cards in your deck. Then Backstab works with that. Spines is kind of cute. You can go for a super defensive deck. So an ability lasts forever. You've got to play it up front. You're vulnerable that first turn because you spent 2 action, do nothing. But then if you have Spines, then you can kind of just say, I don't need any damage in my deck. I'll just get defense. I don't have any good defense, though, either, right? So I don't want to kind of buy Spines, hoping I find a lot of good defensive cards. Hemorrhage is kind of... Hemophage is pretty good. You can just go a lot longer and bleed decks. But we're kind of already... It's only 2 cards towards combo, but like there are like 2 of our only cards that aren't just default garbage. So I think we have to say we're staying in combo over bleed. I think I have to pass all this, which sucks. I wanted at least 1 card that would get me stronger, but I don't like any of this stuff for our deck. 2 actions early on is so expensive to pay, right? Hopefully we'll get... So you get to pick one of 3 boss grafts at the end of the fight. Once again, to parallel Slay the Spire. A lot of boss grafts give you +1 action. It's a common thing that they do. But until that, I don't know. I mean... Maybe the argument, though, is that I take Spines and start drafting defense aggressively. Because it's something to do. Like I said, unlike your negotiation decks, where you kind of just clearly say it's a green deck, it's a red deck, end it there. Your battle decks get kind of fluid, and they tend to have a couple of themes to them. So yeah, I'm going to take Spines just because I have some get out of jail. I have some sort of tool that in long fights I can get the value I need to win. We're going to go for it. And we're going to remove... We're not going to remove Feints now that we have Spines. We're going to remove one of our stab... The stab that has no experience to it. Goodbye. Okay. And then we can remove negotiations, but like I said, you don't want to remove your threatens until I get a... Well, actually, I was going to say I don't want to remove a threaten until I level it, because it could be clarity threaten. But this threaten has no experience on it, and magnetic charm means that the more guaranteed greens I have, the better magnetic charm is. So I actually will remove my no experience threaten, and then this threaten we're going to level up and see if we get lucky with clarity threaten. Even if we don't, we might just keep it, because we're so strong we can have a deadweight card. So now we did the night market. When we go to the bar, there's going to be a boss fight. We'll have a chance to convince the bouncer to help us. But first we can either save our friend. Saving your friend really sucks. It feels bad, because you don't gain anything cool. You just don't lose. In this case, I don't lose the Bell of Hesh. However, it tends to be a fight on the easier side. It's a fight or negotiation. I don't need the resolve. I'm going to be able to do the bartender with 21 resolve. It's not even a question. And I don't care about maintaining my resolve. One interesting thing to note is that since every day ends with a boss fight, when they say on Prestige level 5, you only heal 50% of your lost resolve, it's actually irrelevant with resolve, right? Because let's say I had 1 resolve out of 36, I would win that fight and get half of my resolve missing, and then I'm going to heal the other half instantly when I go to sleep. So you're pretty much always going to end the night at full resolve. It's only health you need to maintain. So I don't need this extra resolve. I could prioritize the relationship because I don't care about Bells of Hesh, but Gura already likes me, so I'm not getting a new benefit. We're going to save Alada. Hopefully the fight is not that hard. It is a level 3, so I could just save my health for the boss fight and convince them to leave. Or I could get the experience. This is actually tricky. I can do this negotiation and the bartender no problem on 21 resolve. I'm not that worried. She's very weak. But I could get some more... I have Krideshi Feint, so I'm going to risk it. She's just level 3, but she's alone. Okay, let's go for it. Spines! Now, save the Feint because it's not going to be optimal. We'll use it on the next rotation. So now she's going to take 6 damage hitting me. Yeah, especially because the thing about the Spines, since it expends, I can only give it 1 experience a fight. Right? So it's really good to just get a fight in, get another Spines in. Okay. Let's improvise. This doesn't get experience, but I just want to see if I can get something useful. So Cripple, pretty nice. Cripple makes them do reduced damage, so this is effectively 3 defense. And then I can Feint. And then the Haymaker doesn't do anything good, but it's going to take so long to level the Haymaker, and I do want to level out the Haymaker. So let's hit her with the Haymaker. Aha! Yeah, I think it was smart to take the Spines, watching this all play out in front of me. So she's going to buff this turn. So we got lucky. We got all damage. We can do 3 damage cards in a turn with... We didn't get our card that creates combo, which is sad, but the upgrades for Elbow, Strike, and Stab, they can get upgrades that give them combo, so we'll just hit them. We're not going to Krideshi Feint for the heal. We're going to wait till the defense is doing something. We're not going to use the combat drone on her. She's not that scary. Now we're going to do the stomp because we want both that and the Haymaker to level, and it does more damage right now. She triaged and healed herself. What a jerk. So this is, so you see this doesn't get experience, but now because maintaining our health pool is very important, this has a lot of good options to win the fight faster or maintain our health pool. So we're gonna look into that. We would have liked that later. So wound, each attack does 1 bonus damage. I don't actually know if wound works with counter. I haven't used counter too often. So we're definitely gonna do this now, because I want to see, is she going to take 21 damage, or is she going to take, or no, it's 4 damage. So is she going to take 12, or is she going to take 21? Hey, wound does work with counter. That's awesome. Okay. Hey, we can finally do the fucking free stomp. That's cool. In this case, I'm not going to fight dirty because, Sal's Dagger Stomp 2 Feint is such a good turn. Normally, because it's promoted fight dirty, it's always going to be better than what I'm doing with my regular leech cards. But this gives me more experience, and it's quite a strong turn already. So, I just don't think this could have even given me something better to do than what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, we're going to take a little, but we can Kradeshi now. Heal most of it. Let's pop an elbow. Maybe we can get it next turn and level it. Yeah, I do want to level the Haymaker, but getting a couple of these basics leveled for the boss would be nice. Okay, this is the last turn. Hey, I can level this. So you can see I'm going to hover this over. She's going to surrender, which takes 4 more damage. So we'll do 2 attacks, and we'll do a feint. Boom, get off my phone. Yeah, that was definitely worth it. A lot of experience, we'll get a free card. Get the resolve, in case the bartender was a problem, which he won't be. 1 upgrade. Yeah, okay. Yay, Rival Strike, gain 1 combo. Perfect. Stone Skin can be quite fun. Discard your hand, gain defense and counter for each card discarded. You just kind of pass the turn with it, you expend, and then in our case, we're going to get, as long as we have, the spines, we'll get even more counter. But Chambered is exactly what we want. We want to make sure that we start the turn with at least 2 combo for a free stomp, and we like defense, so Chamber is perfect. Okay, Aletta doesn't give us anything because it let us do. I wish that event would only be people you like. So if you save their life, they switch to loving you. I think that would be more fun. Or at least if they already love you, get some additional benefit that you don't get from people who like you, right? This feels bad. Okay, so now Casio brought somebody in, a crime lord, to beat me up. The bouncer is like, hey, I'm not here to kill crime lords. Oh, crap! So I didn't realize that Bina was the bouncer of the bar. So having the bouncer of the bar hate you really sucks, because for this quest and a quest on day 3, you can get her to help you, but if she hates you, it's like harder to get along. So now she's going to have more. This might actually be a hard negotiation now, because she's at 50, but we're super strong. We should be okay even at 50. She does have double edge. Whenever she does damage, she gets composure equal to what you didn't mitigate, so defending is super important against her. That's why you can never totally give up on your composure. So let's get... This is definitely a fight where we're not gonna play for experience. We're gonna just play, unless it's a tiebreaker. We're gonna play for optimality. We don't want Visionary Fast Talk because we'll draw on 0, and there's good stuff we want to use, like good impression, that we don't want to draw and not use. So we'll just hit her. Actually, no. The threat has a chance of being better. And this is just time it just doesn't really matter, so we want to get that threatened to find out if it's clarity or not. So Crafty is really rough. It's always the first turn of a double-edged person, and it's scary because I really need to defend so she doesn't get double-edged, but I don't know who she's attacking. That's one of the reasons why those bait arguments... Oh, this is Tinker, by the way. He's a good boy. Say hello. That's why bait can be quite strong, because if I baited, then I wouldn't need to kill this to know where she's hitting. In this case, I'm just going to Good Impression, Crafty, do a bajillion damage, and now she's hitting that. There's our boost to deflection, and hit her with an archery. Just look how much she started at 50. Now she's at 34. Hey, we drew our second good compression quite early. So let's, yeah, we're gonna do that over Beguile. It's more damage. We just want damage. We need to defend. And now... Yeah, once again, it's pretty close. The fast talk or the threaten. Threaten could theoretically do more sometimes. And that's my one exception. I'm going to play for damage, but I'm just going to try to get this threaten down when it's threaten with fast talk. I wouldn't threaten over like Beguile or something, but here I will. So now she's hitting two things. It's rough, but one of those is coming from the ploy, which we can destroy this turn quite easily. But let's do the flattery now. So with flatter, we'll spend an influence to hit both arguments. So let's do that strong melee I was talking about. And our boosted composure. We don't want to draw because we won't get to do anything with the cards we draw. There again. Yeah, let's see what we get. There's a lot of stuff that could help here. I could gossip, but in this case, saving that one extra health doesn't like matter really. It still won't materially change what happens. And observation for free damage. Let's do that. We'll compose this, and both of these are leveled. Oh wait, I'm dumb. So I should have done this differently. I should have done the intrigue first for the bonus damage. Then this would have gone away. She would retarget, and I could have composured this. Now if I do intrigue, this composure is wasted, and I'm going to take free damage. So I must do good impression. So I should have thought about that more. It's not going to matter, because she's not killing me this turn, and I'm probably killing her next turn. But it is 12. Can I do 12? Maybe I can't. Oh well. Let's get our free bonus damage now, because, like I said, that's the overkill damage. Means that these one health arguments are actually just huge vulnerabilities. And now we can kill her. We'll threaten first, and then if it doesn't kill her, we'll fast talk. So we're hoping this doesn't kill her now. Because the fast talk is guaranteed too. So we could have gotten that in the future. Okay. Boom, look at those upgrades, baby. Alright, first, moment of truth. Yay! Threat of clarity. We got it, Tinker. So we're going to get a nice 8 damage. Useful 1 negotiation, and then no more red in our deck. So the point... We'd rather have more influence or more damage. In this case, we're starting to get some influence scaling. We have it on... actually, it's only just on intrigue right now. We don't have scaling effects yet, so maybe I do just take the damage. I don't have things that scale off more yet. There's one card we're hoping to get that scales really strong. That will kind of... Actually, what I should have done is I should have picked first. Oh, fuck, yeah. And here it is. This is the best card for these decks because for every influence you have, you hit an argument with it. So it's the only thing that like will really, really scale. So you pretty much must take a rapid fire. Deceive is also, I don't know, I don't think it's that good. I don't use Inceptions that much. You could make an Inception heavy deck, but then you hit that guy who does damage every time you play Manipulation. You're like, oh, well my whole deck is fucking pointless. Column is fine. It's not amazing, it's not terrible, but rapid fire is insane. So I should have... We're going to finish doing this before I do the fight. So I should have probably taken the strong point that gives me influence instead. But too late now. Impression, so I can either get Pale Impression, where it'll be free, or boosted, where it'll do 1 more damage. I have no 0 costs right now, so I think Pale is better. Because I'm just trying to get, you know, more free value. I can either get 4 Composure or 6 Composure, but only once. Since I already have a boosted, I'll take a lucid. You don't want all your composures to expend, because against those double-edged guys, you need to have some composure every time. But I can definitely have 1 expend and have my deck get thinner and more dangerous. So on my second rotation, I get my rapid fire faster and kill. Spend 1 rotation gaining influence, kill shot on the second. Intrigue now, I can either have it do 2 more damage or save an influence, which this is another great example. If I hadn't drawn my rapid fire, I would have chose boosted. Since I have my rapid fire and it is my finisher, I'm going to take Pale. Because now banking my influence actually does something for me. It makes my rapid fire stronger later. So I actually have an incentive to not totally run out of influence. Cool. We got the good card. Now our deck, like, we're going to take like maybe 1 or 2 more negotiation for the rest of the game, right? 14% of the game. Negotiation deck's already pretty close to done. Right? Level up these cards, get 1 or 2 more to round it out. But this is pretty much the deck already. Negotiation, super easy. Okay, We're defending ourselves, but Bina will help us because we guilted her into being a good wife. Good. Oh! I didn't know that because I beat her ass. All right, Griftlands, you have surprised me even after my experience. Because I beat her ass raw just now, she's still injured, and so she won't really help me. Had I realized that, I would not have done her so dirty. So now you know. Memorize the name of the bartender. And don't beat her up in a fight. Yikaroonies and my petunies. Okay. Well, let me... Okay. She's getting attacked. Okay, so he's attacking both of us. So there's no option of just killing the drone. Yeah, I guess having her help is pointless, and this is going to be a rough fight, huh? So these drones, their gimmick is... each time they take an attack, they lose an unstable drone proc, and then they die. When they die, they do 5 damage to Drone Master Geobully. Yeah, there's no way I can say... I could put defense on her, but it's just not a winning proposition. Because he does a lot of AoE, so it's unlikely I can put enough defense on her that later I get a free attack out of it. And she's just going to be hitting him for... allies go before enemies, so she'll get this damage in at least, but I think I just... Having said that, I don't have such a good hand. I don't fighting dirty. I always fighting dirty, so maybe I draw something that helps. But I don't expect... Oh! So, free power. Power is just 1 more damage every attack. That's really strong early on. Boosted hide is exactly enough to put her on 1 HP and get more attacks out of her. I do think that is better. Oh, fuck! I'm so stupid. It's gain defense, not... Fuck me. So this applies defense, something's gain, and it must be on myself. So I should have taken the power here, 100%. I'm taking damage, but like... Power... Actually, no! I take that back. Power's not that good. Because, specifically Drone Guy, he's just gonna... When he has no drones, he spends his turn spawning a new one. And you attack the drones and do the 5 damage. You fight the drones way more than you actually hit Drone Guy. So actually, no, Boosted Hide was correct, because power is irrelevant. But against any enemy where the amount of damage I do matters versus the number of attacks, I would have much preferred power. Good news is, combo is the thing that is better for doing multiple attacks, and these guys are immune to bleed. So I have the right archetype for these specific nerds. Let's get rid of... Well, I can't get rid of one drone because I don't have enough attacks. Let's start weakening this drone. And, yeah. This first turn's going to be rough, but once I get rid of the drones... It's rough. This guy's always hardest at the beginning when he's got 2 drones. You can rope-a-dope him a bit once he has no drones, which is my mission. He's doing 11, they're going to charge up spark attacks or something. I don't actually know if I use spines here. I mean, I definitely always stop this guy from charging. Right? Actually, no. I think spines is good here. Plus, I want it to get a charge. This is going to be a little rough with that bartender being weak. It's a huge deal to have an ally for this fight. Yeah, I think I just do this. I just gotta start working on his drones. This is actually dangerous. I might have to do this, deploy my own drone just to draw some fire. The problem is he has so much AoE, I don't know if it matters. But I guess the drone's attack is still good. This is rough to decide if I need it or not. I mean, this turn I'm going to hit this twice. He's going to summon 1 more new drone. But I'm going to have the combo from Chamber. So if I draw Stomp, I can get the extra attacks to kill. I think I'm going to be okay without the combat drone. Perhaps I shall eat my words. But since I'm not taking any damage this turn, I'm going to risk it. We hit the combat drone twice from Chamber. So next time I can do a free attack and fuck up the other drone that shows up. Yeah. Risking it. Charge is scary, but that 11 damage is not coming my way because I am killing this guy. And then Let's fighting dirty, see what we get. We're going to wound this guy so our combo does more damage. But we're going to use the stomp. Actually, I should have wounded him, even though the wound wouldn't have helped, just because it's another attack, right? Okay. Yeah, that was a mistake. So this is 3 charges. And he's just summoning a new drone. So this is now... That was a little rough, but we got where we need to be now. So... He's going to just summon a drone every turn, and we're going to just kill a drone every turn. And we should be okay. Sometimes the drones will have 4 defense. But sometimes we'll get extra attacks from our stomp and such. So, in this case we don't have combo today, but let's do this and see if we can get combo. Yes, we can. I don't think this counts as an attack for the... Yeah, because it didn't do damage. But it still means we can kind of get our freebie here. So we're 1 behind. Oh, and this is another 4 drones. This is going to be a little rough. But the good news is we can always kill this drone, and then if we gotta defend a bit this turn, it's fine. So let's elbow strike this, do not take this. He's doing 6, which I can defend. And it will be spiny defense. Yeah, I feel bad not doing any hits on this guy, but I think this is the smartest, because I'll get some combo next turn. So if I draw the stomp, I'll have the free attack. He's attacking for 10, he's summoning another drone. Brilliant, because now we can stomp, silence daggers, hammer grip, hit. We can stab and make some hay. 4 health there, what a jerk. There's just something. Okay, this kind of sucks though, because I don't have... I have to waste an action here, and so that could put me behind a little bit. Is that the sign I just switched to hitting Jolt? No, I should just keep on the drones. Keep on the 20 mils. Get our Kodeshi down. Something better to do. He's probably attacking this turn, right? Yeah, for 8. So that's fine. We're going to kill this drone. Oh, we only have Rival Strike, we don't have 2 combo. That sucks. So we're gonna take some damage here. But that's fine. We got screwed by that bartender. So... Chamber. Now is probably when I think I can turn on... Well... can I turn... No, I don't have lethal. But I have enough defense to live, so let's just... see what Fighting Dirty gives me. Go from there. If we wound him, it'll make it easier to kill him next turn. And then let's just defend up. And then try to kill him next turn. I mean, this guy's still at 3, so I kind of have committed, but... He has 2 wounds, so I feel like it should be possible. He's the one attacking me. So what do I need? I need 15 more damage to make him surrender. That's 5 with the wound. That's minimum 4 for 9. That's minimum 7 for 16. Okay. We did it. It was correct to save the combat drone, but it did get really dicey. But that's all because that, Oh yeah, with bosses, when the boss, they all surrender. Sometimes, like, making one guy surrender just makes one guy surrender, so that's really important. But this one I knew. It's like this. So it's a lot rougher than usual, but you can imagine if I had an ally sometimes taking the hits, always healing me and shooting the drones, how much, like, dramatically easier. Especially the Drone Master, it's, like, exponentially easier with an ally, right? Because it's just about your number of attacks you can sneak in. So it was a little more damage than what I liked. It did let us level all this shit up, though, right? So... You can either get stabbed with a nail or stabbed with a stone. Stone is clearly what we want with Spiny. Piercing is pretty bad, because ignoring damage blocked by defense. The thing is, like, unless your piercing damage kills, ignoring defense is just not the most useful thing in the world, right? Because if you're trying to do a lot of damage that turn, your non-piercing attacks need to break it. So it's only good when it's good to break defense and then like hit past defense and do some other stuff. It requires a very particular hand to even be useful, and this is always good. And especially with Spines, it's like just obviously the play. We can either apply to bleed or draw a card. We're not doing bleed at all. So yeah, drawing a card wins by default. That's not so... We don't have a great economy to use draw a card. So this is still a potential candidate for what we remove from our deck. In this case, stab at the Counter-Strike, clearly what we want. Discarding synergies. There's actually a lot of discard synergy. There's like cards that do powerful things when you discard them. That's not what we're doing this game. We are get counter and then turtle defense and just say, well, our plan to kill you is that you kill yourself on me, right? So, negotiation cards. Invective is insanely strong. It's pretty much the reason that hostility is stronger than diplomacy, in my opinion, is how ridiculously strong invective is. It's natural scaling that handles itself. You don't need to do anything. But we're not hostile. I don't think we want a second Beguile or a second Appeal to Reason. This is expensive cards. Maybe an Appeal, actually. Yeah, actually, I think I can see an argument for Appeal to Reason. You only lose 1 influence. So if you have, or 2, so if you have like 10 influence, I can get the free attack, and then still do, and it will do 6 damage, pre-upgrade even, whereas Rapid Fire, I guess once I upgrade Rapid Fire, it would do, I'm going to get, you always pick boosted, it's never maintained. Gaining 1 is pointless, because the time you use this is when you have 10 plus influence, so boosted is always the choice for 3 damage. And then I guess actually Rapid Fire is just like exactly as much damage as I'm going to get out of my Appeal to Reason. But I can upgrade my Appeal to Reason. And if I make it only lose 1, then it's just free value relative to the Rapid Fire. Or I could get this for a mid-game when I just need to break something. It's probably going to be worth it, but it's already close, that's my point. Viciousness is quite good. Viciousness is a very, very good card. The only problem is that... how much damage are we doing? We just don't do much damage. But I don't care. Viciousness is so strong, I think we take it anyway. It's still, we can get counter synergies with it. Like in our deck, things that make our counters better. And just Viciousness is just so fucking good that I think you gotta take it. Even though we don't have the best synergy. Okay, now a Graft Reward. It's 100% Calamity Jar. Pets are fine. I mean, you saw with allies that tanking is good, so even a weak pet is still like, hey, at least you are tanking something. But the negotiation graphs are like, who cares? Pet is not a bad downside. Always Calamity Jar. Whew. So I can see, I don't have an XSplit, like a timer of how long I've been recording, but I do have the file size. We are 12 gigabytes in to this video. So I think maybe, I like explaining, maybe I'm explaining so much that it's not enough you can take in one sitting. So I'm going to break this Griftlands video here at day 1. I'm probably going to immediately continue doing the next one, but just to put a break in the video so it doesn't destroy your browser. So I'm going to hit stop recording, and then I'm going to immediately hit start. Let me actually go to the endgame screen. Let me rest in the back here. So there are 5 days in the full quest, but right now they're only doing 4 days because they, I guess, want to save the final boss. So I've done a 4th of the game as it is available to me. A 5th of what it will be. There will be a day 5, and welcome to Havaria. So I can see here, 2 new people dislike me, 3 people are neutral, 2 people love me. Wait a minute. What happened to... Bina turned neutral for some reason. I guess they were like, we just bonded over that fight we did together or something. That's cool. I got these 2 new lovers with these benefits. Shows the cards. I heal 50% of my max, not my missing. If this was Slay the Spire rules, where you only healed 50% of missing, I'd be in a lot of trouble. But the restoration rate is 50% of max, so you can see my resolve is full, as I predicted. And My health is not great, but if I get some easy fights, I've got that feint for healing 4. So here's the endgame screen. I'm going to hit stop so this video does not blow up your minds, but I will be recording the next one immediately after, so I am still going to be fresh on everything. See you there.